Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 3rd of November, comes to you from London. And quite a lot of red on the screen this morning. Currency's mostly down, implying the dollar is up. So we're seeing currencies weaker, and markets generally weaker. The exception being precious metals. We're seeing some strength there this morning. So just at first glance, that's what we're seeing. And the energy mix, we're seeing European power and gas markets looking stronger, and I'll come on to that at the end of this session. So just looking at what's going on in markets, we're seeing the dollar holding steady there, and that means, of course, that the euro is weaker below the cloud. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market with the corresponding point and figure targets. So we see the downside target met here. We've got a new downside target on the euro dollar yet to be activated. Against the yen, just holding below the 114 level. So dollar's just going sideways for the last few days there, but still maintaining that strength, which is quite key. Sterling sitting at 136, so just generally trending lower against the dollar, and we're seeing that in the short-term chart as well. Taking a look at Bitcoin, we're sitting at $63,000, still gunning towards this $83,000 target, looking strong there. And I noticed my Ethereum is up this morning as well. Looking at the S&P 500 index, we're up 1/3% yesterday, but the futures are flat this morning. We've got the S&P future slightly down and the Nasdaq future slightly up. So markets looking fairly flat, and we're seeing the DAX in Germany little changed and the CAC 40 just down very slightly. So in fact, not seeing big moves there. The Japanese market down 2/3% overnight, so less strong there, but still holding its bullish trend above all three time frames. And the Hang Seng down 1/3%, China down 0.2%. And India slightly lower. The Aussie market bucking the trend was up 1%, so looking stronger there on resources. We'll look at the energy mix shortly. Wheat made a new 9-year high yesterday. We've been talking about that quite a lot. And we've now got lots of big upside targets activated. So this will add to inflationary fears globally. So that's certainly one to keep an eye on. Gold struggling still at 1780. Just can't get above 1800. Silver actually up this morning slightly. And platinum and palladium looking a little bit better. Copper actually steady. Has really risen and then just it did jump a few weeks ago. We see that in the weekly candle there, and that's the jump in October, but we've pulled back some of that gain, so not looking that strong until we break to new highs, but we do have an upside target some 15% higher. US 10-year yield sitting at 152. They've pulled back, which means that German bonds we're seeing is actually up a little bit. So the bond market just holding on at the moment, but interestingly we're seeing that yield just hitting support there. Looking at the energy mix now, I've put my energy report out to clients this morning. So we've gone bearish on crude oil. US nat gas looking bullish. We're neutral at the moment on gas and power, just waiting for the trends to happen. And you can see those charts just by clicking on the report. So that's gone out to energy clients this morning. So this is actually mirrored by my screens, which you can also follow throughout the day. So interesting, yesterday on US nat gas, for example, we had this target 560. That's been met. We gave that in the report. So these targets, really, you can't ignore them. So taking a quick look at the energy mix this morning, we're bearish on crude oil. We've turned down there. We've got downside targets. So crude is looking more bearish. US nat gas actually looking more bullish. So we're seeing here we're recovering through the cloud. We've got these upside targets. As we said, yesterday's target 560 nearly met. We've got new targets now, 573, 580. So that's where we're looking to. Coal is below the $100 mark for the first time in since August, really. So we are seeing that just completely breaking down and we're bearish below the cloud there. Emissions have been range bound. We're up 2/3% this morning, but we are very much in this range at the moment. And if I put the key levels on there, we see that that's the range that we're in, 56.65 to 60.45. So that's really what we're seeing. If we look at the longer term chart, we can put on the daily chart there the key levels 65.58 and 50 is a pretty critical level for the emissions market. UK emissions down slightly this morning, still looking bearish below the cloud there, so that's quite key. Taking a look at NBP, we're up 6% this morning. It's a bit early to really call a recovery. What we want to see is a new higher high above that level, and we're not making that yet. So until that happens, it's a bit hard to call this the market there. And the same for TTF. We need to get back above that reactive high. The fact that we made the lower low is still a concern, and we've got targets in both directions. Keep an eye on your 1 minute targets, especially on your OTC data. German power this morning up nearly 5%. Again, we need to see that higher high. So whilst we're seeing this move, we do have a target to 119 on some of the 1 minute charts, but for the moment that relief rally might well run out of steam, and of course we might be finding cloud support here, but we are still bearish on the trend there. And Nordic power on the cow, we are seeing a bit of a bounce, but again we are still bearish below the cloud. We are seeing a bit of a reaction there this morning. Now that's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.